Well, welcome everyone to the show. My name is Alex from Love Sugar Show. We have an Instagram and also a YouTube. And today I'm really excited to talk about this album. We're joined by Jeff, and we're gonna go over and kind of just talk about the album. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking your time. The first question that I ask anyone that I ever interview is how's everything going in your world? Not just musically, but also in your personal life as well.
Pretty good. I mean, always ups and downs like with everyone, but just trying to stay busy, trying to keep the bills paid and the animals fed. So as long as I'm doing that, it's things are generally pretty good otherwise. So
Yeah, definitely important to keep the animals fed because I don't know if yours are like mine, but they will complain if they're hungry. They'll wake me
uh,
up to get food.
yeah, we just got a new dog like a month ago, so like whenever he wants his bowl filled, he's definitely knocking it all over the kitchen. So
Well, good luck. The puppy phases or first month is always the hardest, I think.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into this album. I know in the bio it said that there was like a 4-year gap. How does it feel to finally close that?
It wasn't really a gap. I was just kind of working on other things and uh, you know, other things just kind of took priority, I guess. I wasn't really thinking about doing a full length again. I was just more interested in doing like singles and covers and stuff that weren't like high stress. But then I just kind of ended up with like, half a dozen songs, and then everything else just kind of filled itself in naturally. So yeah, I wasn't even really on intentionally trying to do it. It just kind of, I guess, came to me really.
And is that just because like you weren't focused on it or like the other things just seemed more enjoyable or what was kind of like the idea behind that?
I, I feel like at the time, like it was like during COVID and all of that stuff, that I was really just knocking out records from projects like one a year, and I felt like this one just kind of a little bit of breathing room, I guess.
Hmm.
Kind of go back to some older things I hadn't worked on in a few years, and yeah, it wasn't really intentional. It just kind of happened naturally, I guess. Just it just took a break on its own, really.
Yeah, so kind of like a little timeout and then it jumped back in.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, everything happened like really quickly with this one. Like I guess, I guess I've said it in like other like interview things too. These couple of these songs are like left over from like another record that's coming out later this year with a different
Hmm.
band, but they all kind of fit the same vibe together. So like it just felt right to like kind of re-record these and finish them under a different thing. Just since the band had taken like a 4 year break, I've done a couple covers and a couple singles before since the last record, but
Yeah.
nothing, you know, nothing too big. So
Well, that's good. At least you got everything kind of done and, got to be able to finish up some different stuff. And this one's just kind of waiting, and it's finally finished. So that's exciting.
I'd have this weird like ADD thing where I don't like stuff to sit on my hard drive for too long, or I feel like it's just old and I just write new stuff. So
Hey, as long as it gets done eventually, that's all that really matters. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
for sure.
So, since this album has been finally put together, what does it mean to you as an artist?
Um, I guess I don't really look at records that way. Like I know a lot of people like when they put something out or they're starting to write something else, they want to make it better than the last one. I guess I've
Hmm.
just done so many things at this point. It's like I'm not really interested in it being better than something else or better than the last one. I'm just interested in it being good. I guess
Hmm.
um, I don't really. I guess it just I don't, especially this project, because I'm not trying to like be some sort of mysterious, esoteric kind of thing like a lot of these other bands. I'm just like,
Yeah.
the lyrics on this one are really simple and kind of like hard on your sleeve kind of thing. So
Hmm.
it's, I guess it is about personal stuff, but it's mostly just internal dialogue. It's not like I don't feel like it's a great achievement or anything like that. It's just kind of, it's just another record I put out. So if people like it, I appreciate that. But, if they don't, it's not going to break my heart or anything.
Well, it sounds like not having that extra pressure kind of like puts you in like a stress-free zone versus, like, okay, this needs to be better than the last. I need to top this. I need to do more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my mid 40s now. I feel like I've grown out of that. I'm not living in a van 6 months out of the year like I was in my 20s and 30s. So, like, I think I just kind of grew out of that mentality. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, we get older and things change, so nothing wrong with that.
well, I also feel like, post 2020, everyone has to look at things differently. So, I mean, it kind of
True.
ruined a lot of people's lives and a lot of bands and businesses and whatnot. So, it's kind of changed priorities a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of funny how something that happened like so it feels like so long ago is like still impacting people. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like it's back to normal, but I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't I like being home more than I used to, and
Yeah.
I just left this past weekend. I let a friend of mine borrow my van, so I just drove them around for a couple days, and it's like even like 24 hours away, just like I just want to go home to the dogs. So
Yeah.
you know,
To be fair, dogs are really good company. They don't judge you, they listen.
yeah, exactly,
They're good people.
yeah.
So on this album, you did say that this project was as close to a rock record that it will ever get. What did you mean by that?
I guess I feel like I guess production wise, everything is always really processed. There's a whole lot of like just kind of ambient things that go on, and I mean, I always look at things as like a full record as opposed to just songs, and I feel like that this record is
Yeah.
more singles than it is like the past two. Whereas the last two I looked at as a whole piece, and this was like it's a whole piece, but it's individual songs too. So,
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of the tones are just everything's simplified. There's not 50 tracks on everything. It's just a guitar track on each side and a couple little layers here and there. There's not a lot of synth stuff.
Yeah.
The drums are way more realistic than they have been in the past. So yeah, I guess it feels more like a rock record where there's verses and choruses as opposed to a lot of stuff in between.
Yeah. And was that kind of intentional just to make it like more simple, or did you want to like what were you trying to achieve,
Uh,
if anything?
I mean, I was just trying to do something a little bit different that I haven't done before, and I kind of do try to do that with every record. I don't want to keep putting out the. I love Motorhead; it's one of my favorite bands of all time, but I don't want to do
Yes.
that.
I hear you. The Motorhead is pretty good for sure. So what was kind of like the inspiration behind the album? Was there like anything personal that kind of like made its way in or anything like that?
Yeah, like I said before, I guess it's just like a lot of personal dialogue. Like, I'm pretty fucked up in the head, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty hard on myself, a whole lot of self
Yeah.
doubt. And I guess it's just kind of thinking out loud when it comes on those terms. I don't really try to like write a story or anything like that. It's just, just
Yeah.
I scribble things down and they either stick or they don't. Like when I write lyrics, it starts with a chorus and then the lyrics are for the verse are usually pretty spontaneous. Like I'll write those in like 5 minutes. So
Well, the good thing is I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, especially in the world. Like there's always something going on.
yeah, and I feel like there's enough like bands that wear costumes that are writing about some sort of orthodox satanic thing or
Yeah.
this that and the other. I mean, and I like that stuff. It's just I don't really
Hmm.
want to do it myself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, it's nice to do something different and also not have like that pressure of okay, it has to be better. Like it's just
yeah,
different. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
pretty
for
cool.
sure. I mean, because everyone, people that the listeners are always going to have their favorite record, and it's just could be a time in their life, it could be an age, it could be this or that. It just seems like you shouldn't have to try to live up to that all the time. Just
Right.
if you enjoy writing music, just keep writing music, and that's do it for yourself as opposed to other people or sales or streams
Yeah.
at this point. So,
Well, with this album, if someone has never heard of this project before and they want to listen to the album, which song would you recommend them to start with?
um, I guess it's kind of subjective if you like slow music or you like, kind of single poppy or rock songs. I guess track
Mhm.
two if you like sort of poppier songs, and then if you're into like more like droney kind of swan stuff, I guess, the last song, because I tend to make every last song on every record slow and like, why did I just listen to that kind of thing? So,
Well, awesome. Is there like a reason behind that? Is it just kind of like calming down after the whole record? Like kind of like a preparing to boot you out of this album?
I don't know. I guess I just always feel like the introspective way is the way to end it. So you're just feeling the weight of the whole thing, I guess. I
Yeah.
didn't really start out as intentional. It just kind of worked that way after a couple records, and I've just kind of continued that. So,
And for this project, are you doing like everything yourself or do you have any outside help with any aspect of it?
on the last two records, I had some guest vocalists, and this one I
Mhm.
just decided that it felt. And then people also did cover art on the last couple records, but this one I just kind of want to do everything myself. So I did the cover art and all the production and all the instruments and everything.
Do you feel like that gives you like a little bit more freedom or do you feel like it's kind of isolating because it's all on you?
Um, to be honest, I feel like a lot of the times when I do this stuff all by myself, it's because I'm really impatient and other people that I would like to be on the album have tons of things to do as well, and I'd rather just get it done.
So it sounds like a sense of freedom so you don't have to wait on someone.
Yeah, and I mean the timing's always, it's a thing too. A guy that I've known for 20 years at this point does like all the PR. Dave, who you talked to, I'm sure, like we
Yeah.
had talked since last year that I was going to do like at least 4 or 5 records this year. So the timing with that was kind of a thing too. So as opposed to having to wait on other people, I just needed to get this one done because it fit in a time slot that worked for both of us. So
Well, that's pretty cool. It kind of sounds like it kind of just fell into place, like it was simply meant to be.
yeah, it definitely was not supposed to be coming out in February. It was in my head, it was coming out like later in the fall, but it just kind of worked itself into this position because of delays and other stuff. So
Well, how do you feel that it's released? Because I'm sure you've seen some comments and some feedback about it so far.
um, I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't really read the reviews anymore. I just
Yeah.
kind of I'll skip to like the number rating and be like, okay, if
Hmm.
it's an 8, all right, that's good for me. Because I would rather it be a 2 or a 9 than I would be a 5, because then it's just, you can skip over it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, honestly, I haven't really seen any comments on anything. People have told me that it's good through text message or whatever, but I try to stay off that kind of social media thing other than reposting and liking the stuff. Just
Honestly,
I figured out a long time ago that like the comments just drive you crazy.
that is true. I feel like you can see 100 positive, and the moment you see that one, you're like, oh, really?
That's the only one you're going to think about.
Exactly. But I think that's really good. I think people need to spend less time on social media and, just focus on living in the now. Unless you're watching my video, then I am all for social media.
Yeah, if I didn't have bands and if I didn't have to rely on it for my job, I would probably delete everything. But
Yeah,
things are different. So these days,
it's like you're forced to do it nowadays.
yeah, everyone forgets.
Yeah. So with the lyrics, I know in a lot of albums that I've listened to, the lyrics kind of like stand forward, like you hear the lyrics really clearly. And in
Yeah.
this album, the lyrics are kind of like in the background, like you have to really listen and pay attention so you don't miss anything. Is that intentional?
Um, Probably because to be honest, like I said, there's like self doubt with like being good at singing in the first place, so that's probably
Yeah.
why they're affected quite a bit. Um, and I don't enjoy writing lyrics at all. And generally, when there are words, the last two records had way fewer words than this one does.
Yeah.
Generally, when something comes to me, I'll just jot it down and then I'll look at it, a couple weeks later or something. And if the record is, sometimes I'll write a record in a week, but if
Oh,
it
wow.
takes months. If I see it later and it's still good and I still remember the cadence, I'll just keep it. But yeah, it's probably just a confidence thing. And then it's also, I feel like my lyrics aren't good. So if they're like kind of a secondary thing, that's probably just better, just in my own head, you know. And I,
Yeah.
this is the only project I've ever really done vocals in, so I've always
Okay.
been a guitar player, songwriter, otherwise. So
Well, I liked it because I had to really listen. Like I couldn't be multitasking like I normally do and just have it in the background. Like I actually had to focus. And I really like that because I'm like, okay, I'm doing one thing. That's awesome.
nice, I appreciate that.
So it sounds really good. And I know you also talked about the idea of retiring the project. Is that something that you're still thinking about, or is there still going to be more after this one?
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily retiring the project. I just wasn't. I feel like writing full length sometimes, especially something that you're doing by yourself.
Yeah.
It's more stress than it needs to be, and I was just. It's always easier if I have a song that's on my hard drive, I just put out that one song and then move on to something else instead of
Hmm.
trying to come up with 40 minutes of music or whatever the standard is now. So
Right.
especially when you could put out a song, say every 2 months, and then that takes up your whole year, or you put out this one record and everyone forgets about it in 6 weeks, which
Yeah.
is kind of how it works now. So
Yeah, I feel like nowadays there's just so many choices. There's just so many like people I'm included in this. Like
yeah,
it's hard to keep your attention on something because there's like 5,000 things you need to do.
yeah, and I just feel like the only bands that are really getting anywhere these days are like the old legacy artists that put out a great record like 20 or 30 years ago, and they're just still living off of that. They don't really have to put out any music as long as they go on tour and play the hits. So
Lucky them, right?
yeah.
So the song No Time for Love, it had like a dancey rock vibe. Was that kind of intentional or what was kind of like the creative process behind that song?
Usually, when I write a record, I will. There's an intention of how it should sound for whatever project it is. That was a leftover from another record that's coming out later this year with a different band.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of come up with, say like if the band needs a dancier song, I'll come up with two of those ideas. If it needs a slower song, I'll come up with two of those ideas, and then I'll just kind of fill in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, this was a dancey song left over from that record, and it still kind of fit the vibe of this project. And I had a vocal idea for it, and that's pretty much how that one was put together. So it was kind of on this side of the spectrum is that song, and then, like I said, the last song on this record is on the other end of the spectrum. And I generally will write the first and last song first, and then fill in the middle from there.
Yeah.
So it just kind
Well,
of worked out like those
well,
were two songs left off of something else, and I just filled in the middle from there. So
well, that's awesome. I have to say, like, that song has been on repeat, like, in my life. Like, I listen to it and I'm like, this is good. And I just, like, like an hour later, I'm like, okay, I need to, like, listen to something. I just get stuck on that song. It's so good.
oh, thank you. That's probably my favorite one on the record too. So
Yeah, for anyone watching this interview, you need to listen to that song. It is, I hate to say this, but I don't mean this lightly either. It's like life changing. Like, it is just that good.
oh, thank you.
So,
Yeah, that song is like it's kind of like I had a cat die a couple years ago that had cancer for a long time, and it's just
oh,
kind of like a conversation back and forth about like missing the cat, and then also being like, oh well, I don't have time for new animals, even though I've gotten more animals since then. So
well, that's great. I feel like so many people can relate, especially like, the people that have animals. Like we all know they're the babies, they're the family members, even when they annoy us.
yeah. Yeah, which they do often, but
Very true. So I know you've done other projects and things with other bands and other projects as well. How does this kind of like separate from other projects? Like, do you bring anything from other projects into this one or other bands, or is it like its own separate entity?
I generally kind of, I guess this is really the only one that I've used leftover songs from something else. This one is nice because there doesn't have to be any democracy. I just have myself to deal with. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I generally know when I start writing something, like by the end or by the time I have two or three parts, where it's going to go. Um, But it's as far as going about it differently, no. It just I kind of just sit at the computer and then things will just start happening. I kind of start the same way. I'll build
Hmm.
with a bass and drum line and then just add like a bunch of guitars over the top of it and then arrange from there. So
Hmm.
it's really no different. I mean, other than, like I said, no democracy. I don't have to change anything for anyone. So, which is great. But I do like working with other people because generally, especially vocalists, will always have a better idea than I think I do
Yeah,
for
it's
like
kind of
the
like
cadence. So,
it's kind of nice because you can bounce ideas off of other people, but then there's also that freedom of I don't have to wait for you. It's just me,
yeah.
myself, and I.
Yeah, and usually when I write stuff, I'll just finish an entire song other than the vocals, and then I'll just give it to someone, and then we just usually will change how long a part goes based on the lyrics, and most of
Yeah.
the time stuff doesn't really change otherwise. But
And in a world that's really obsessed with, I think, like noise and speed, what kind of separates this project from that?
I'm just trying to write good songs. I'm not trying to impress anyone with how heavy the guitar tone is or how fast the drums are or anything like that. I just, I like noise, I like death metal, I like black metal, but I also like a hook. And as much as people think that's lame, I can't really get away from it. So, uh, I hope that the hooks are good enough to where people that also like that kind of music can appreciate this too. So
Like I
that's
said,
really my main goal is just, like you said, get it stuck in your head. So,
yeah, it lives in my head rent free now, and I'm just like, oh man, why can't I stop listening to this song? What's in it? An hour later, I'm still listening to it.
as annoying as that can be, does kind of mean that you did something right. So,
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just when I listen to music, sometimes I'm like doing something else, but I really had to like settle down and kind of turn off everything and kind of tune into it. And I
yeah,
think that really made a big difference because I'm like, okay, I'm not doing 5,000 things. I'm doing one thing and I'm doing it well.
yeah. I do like that all the time. I come upstairs to my house to get one thing, and then I do two other things and forget the first thing that I came up for. So,
Yeah. And one last question here for anyone who has listened to it or watches this interview and decides to take a listen to it, or anyone who's kind of been with the project from the beginning, is there anything you want to say to them?
um, I just appreciate checking it out. I've gotten more kind words than negative, so I thank you so much, and I appreciate people like you having me on and talking to me about it, and saying that you thought the songs were great and you listened to it multiple times in a row. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, it's definitely on my Spotify. Like, it's gonna be on my Spotify playlist. Like, I just, oh, it like that. It's just so good. Like, I words can't describe how much I really enjoyed this album. So,
No, thank you so much.
and the good news is for anyone watching this interview, you don't have to wait because the album's already out. So you can listen to it right now without having to wait. And it's from Disorder Records. It came out on the 27th, and it's called Pull Me Toward the Dark. So it's awesome that you don't have to wait.